It starts with
one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in.
What up, guys? Lord Wolf of Chaos, and I am here with a Spider-Man movie review. I don't do this as much as I want, but I'm here. Like, I just seen Spider-Man. That movie was fucking amazing. Hands down, it's one of my favorites, if not like one of the best comic book movies I have seen. Um, in my opinion, 10 out of 10. Princess! And I'm just like, how can you top that? Now this review is going to contain a lot of spoilers. So if you're watching this at this moment, please click off. If you haven't seen the movie, if you have seen the movie and you just want to bear with me, please do. But at this point on, I will be talking about spoilers. So if you're still here, I appreciate you. But let's get back into this whole concept, this amazing movie. Now, they started off with Gwen's story, which is amazing. We got to see Peter. Peter became their version of the Lizard Man, trying to be as awesome as Gwen. Ended up dying because, did too much. Gwen's dad, who's a captain, thought that Spider-Woman killed him, so then they had a whole thing out for Spider-Woman, which is tough. Like, you think about like how these superheroes have to live these lives where, like, your own dad is the captain hunting you, and you're out to protect him and everyone else. But then the Spider-Verse starts to trickle in there, and that shit just got amazing. We seen Miguel. He came in with Shorty with the bike, just amazing. Like, you know what I mean? And I love this film because it's able to touch on different characters, different drawings, different dimensions. So it's like, when they started doing that, it was fucking amazing. Like, it was just amazing. Like, and then, like, after we get to Gwen's story out the way, we go back to Miles, which Miles is just trying to live a complicated, normal kid by day / superhero. Got a Spanish mom, black father. Opening scene, you see, like, into his part of the movie. You're seeing him fucking chase the Spot, who is at first kind of irrelevant villain at first, but he becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just crazy because, like, he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, and then he's just kind of like there. You know what I mean? Like, he's Miles' arch nemesis, and Miles is like, huh? You know what I mean? So it was dope. Then, like, the movie focuses on a little bit of their relationship with, like, his mom, dad, and him for a little bit. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, when they go to the counseling thing, the lady is talking about, like, his story. At first, she's so uninterested, but then, like, Miles gets in there late, of course, They start talking, this whole conundrum of where he wants to be. Because he starts talking, and, like, Miles expresses himself because he's a genuine smart kid. You get some hint that the school counselor told the mom that Miles is lying about something. So you get some hint that she has an idea. The dad is oblivious, but he's a cool dad. And then basically, like, Spot ends up going into himself, finding out he has powers, starts traveling the verse, which then is cool because we get to see different dimensions, which he goes to Lego Spider-Man, he goes to Venom, which is like, still waiting on a Venom Spider-Man collab, which is gonna happen somewhere around there. Like, they've shown it, they've played with it, you know what I mean? But and Sony has done a great job because, like, if you think about it, Sony has done a great job. Venom has been connected to Spider-Man. They've played with it. Like, you had the scene where Venom sees Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Venom once said to him that they have a collective universal mind collected. So there was a version of Venom, which goes back to Tobey Maguire's Venom, that he knows Spider-Man. So it's like, on top of the fact that once he gets back to his world, a piece of him is left in Tom Holland's world. So I don't know if, again, great opener, great reason to capitalize on that, whether they do that or not. But back to the whole Spideyverse, it's just amazing. Like eventually, Gwen sees Miles. She has a device because she becomes part of the team, and eventually she basically is there to see Miles. She's not supposed to, but she misses Miles, and then she's there tracking the spot because again, insignificant villain, yes, at the beginning, but this man had a plan, which he didn't know until it self-developed. Like, oh, he could travel into multiverses. Like, it was just amazing. And there was a part where she goes into the portal trying to track him, and it was a cool scene. I don't know if people caught it, but there's a part where like they look like they did the reverse Tobey Maguire kiss because he was upside down, so she's looking at the city. It is amazing. Like, it is fucking amazing. But again, like, I don't know if people caught it. I was like, oh, that is the fucking thing from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Amazing. So they ended up going to the Indian Spider-Man verse, which is amazing. That guy was cool. Um, Miles ended up saving the captain of the daughter who's dating the Indian Spider-Man, which is fixed. It's a fixed point. I use that well, they use that reference in another show, like The Flash. But um, when he did that, the dimension started to crumble because they have fixed points, which is crazy because it's like the same thing in The Flash with the paradox. Like when he saves his mom, it changes everything because it's a fixed point. It's supposed to happen. It's a part of your story. So when you change stuff, all this other shit changes, which is a great concept because again, we're getting the Flash movie. The Flash movie is based off of that same thing. He saves his mom because he doesn't want her to die. Well, there you go. All this other shit happens because he did that. You're not supposed to do that when you temper with time. So in this case, it was tempering with the present, but it wasn't unknown. Well, Miles didn't know. Gwen knew, but she didn't really try to stop the nigga. So he did it. They were grateful, but the dimension started to collapse. They ended up taking him to the Spideyverse, which is so amazing. You see every fucking versions of Spider-Man, like, and then the comedy is amazing. Like, the humor is just on point because he got a wristband. They say it's a day pass because clearly, you know, he's not supposed to be there. I mean, they didn't recruit him, but he's there. Then they show Miguel. Miguel's suit looks amazing. He's all broody. Miguel is guilty of trying to do the same. Like as he explains, there's a version of who had a family. He died, so he ended up filling in and falling in love with the fact that he had our daughter. But the universe collapsed because that's not how it was supposed to go. Now, honestly, that is a fucked up thing. I feel for him. I completely feel for him. You know what I mean? But there are rules and consequences to this whole multi-reality dimension shit. Whether in comic books, movies, there's always a set of rules. So, cool. Ultimately, they try to narrow down the Spot because the Spot is breaking the rules, and he's from Miles' universe. Eventually, they show us other, and then they even got to a point where they show us other villains, which we got to see a live action Prowler, Childish Gambino. When I say I was hyped, because people don't realize Childish Gambino has been trying. He was in Homecoming, I believe it was the Homecoming one, with Tom Holland playing the Prowler, technically, or a variant of the Prowler. And he also did some of the joke writings for Endgame. So Childish Gambino has been very involved in the MCU in multiple ways, whether people realize that or not. He had a Deadpool show on FX that I think got canceled. I'm not 100% sure. And then, little do people remember when the Amazing Spider-Man got announced, Childish Gambino was actually petitioned to play that version of Peter, which would have been cool, right? No, because having a black Spider-Man at that time was not something that could happen. Even Stan Lee was, but of course Stan Lee was older, and as much as Stan Lee was like the guy, they're gonna, you know what I mean? They're not gonna be like, well, Stan Lee said, oh, no. So, unfortunately, we didn't get Childish Gambino in the earlier Spider-Mans that we would have wanted, but we finally got him there. Now, does that mean for bigger projects? Why not? I mean, he's in a Prowler suit. Clearly, he technically he's played this character twice. Tom Holland Spider-Man, and now in the animated version, Miles Morales is Spider-Man. So, can we get him in a live action thing eventually? Why not? They've been poking about a Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. He is down. They've poked at the idea of introducing Miles Morales. There is conversation for a live action Miles Morales, which would be fire if done correctly. And why not have Childish Gambino, the uncle? I mean, they already hinted at Miles when Tom was talking to him. He was like, "You remind me of my nephew, Miles Morales." So we'll see how that unfolds. Hopefully soon. Childish Gambino looks amazing in the fucking suit. On top of the fact that it's fucking Childish Gambino. Like, hello. You know what I mean? He's been complicatedly dedicated to Marvel for a long time. Whether people know that or not. So, getting back to it, like, then they go into, like, the why. So, like, eventually, Miguel reveals to Miles that he is the original nominee. He was not supposed to be Spider-Man. And because of that, before he tells him that, they go into a synopsis with the whole time thing, and they do a breakdown, and they show all of the Uncle Ben's dying, variants of Uncle Ben dying, which we saw Andrew Garfield's Uncle Ben, we saw Tobey Maguire. Like, it was just epic. Like, again, this movie touched on every Spider-Man content, from Lego to, like, whatever. Even seeing all 100 Spider-Man, which took them, 4 years to complete that scene animation-wise? That is insane. Like, they've been planning this for a while. Again, Sony has been doing their thing with Spider-Man. My hat is to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's up. You know what I mean? So, but going back to it, Miguel tells him, like, because there was a part where he got connected to the spot, and he sees that his dad's going to die. Mind you, his dad became his captain. So, a captain in the story usually dies. So he's like, no, we got to save him. Miguel is like, no, you cannot save him. You cannot, because it's a fixed point. Now, granted, the real question is, because Miles is not technically supposed to be a Spider-Man, and he's an anomaly, which created Spot, which him acting up and all that stuff is a whole thing. Why, like Miles' story, can it be altered? We don't know. We have to wait until the third one, but that is the whole point. Can Miles' story be altered? Now, because he's an anomaly, does that mean that he's a part of the original Spider-Verse? That question's not having fully been answered. But again, we're gonna have to wait. So ultimately, and then the introductions of the other Spider-Man, like Spider-Punk. So him and Gwen might have had a thing because she left her hoodie at his house, and Spider-Punk, he fucking, first of all, he is so rebellious. Like, he does not fucking care about, like, he's the rebel. Which you go into his history, which was really cool. One of the directors, I think from Spider-Man 2, said that he is much needed to Miles Morales' growth because he have all this authority trying to tell him what to do, and Spider-Punk's like, yo, do what you want, bro. And there's a part where he gets captured, and he tells him, like, yo, don't use your fingertips, not your palms, to break out. Like, the whole shit falls apart. Spider-Punk is like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, do your thing, bro. And then he bounces. He's like, I ain't got nothing to do with this. So, his whole character concept is great. To see that from a director talking about his growth, his presence was important to Miles' growth. Because, again, Miles was just trying to do the right thing. He's literally giving them a speech where, how are we supposed to sit here and let people die because of some algorithm? Like, shouldn't we try to change these things? Like, shouldn't we be the good guys? Some of the people you see, they're just thinking, like, wait, is he at a point? Like, so eventually we get this crazy chase scene where Miles goes. They even do the joke, which, like, they were like, cool. You. He's like, stop Spider-Man. And he's like, you. It was amazing because it was like 100 Spider-Man pointing at each other. He chases. He manages to slip through all of them. Miguel catches up to him. Miguel, that's when Miguel officially tells him that he's the anomaly and all that. And, like, Gwen and Peterman dad, like, how you call him? Because he has, like, baby Mary Jane, who's also Spider Power, and she is so adorable. But Miles is the reason why he had kids. and he's just like Spider Dad, like he's in a robe with thing. So like it was just fucking amazing. Like but they tell him, he tells them that you're the anomaly. It's because of you this all happened. Da da da. Miles is like, well, I did get 100. I get you and your little spider crew all 100 away from the thing. Then he uses his electric powers because I guess Miguel forgot that he had electric powers. Shocks him, stands up, says goodbye to Gwen, and Coolest Faction drops, makes it all the way back, and then uses the machine that they use to send villains back to the proper timeline. As Miguel's trying to break through, the digital black Spider-Man girl, she has a chance to stop it, and she doesn't. She looks at Miles, and she lets him go. Again, two black other Spider-Mans are helping Miles because they fuck with him. The Spider-Punk and then her. And it's just like, yo, come on. That's like fucking great. So, he ends up going back to his universe. He tells his mom he's Spider-Man. She's like, alright, what is that? Mind you, at the same time, Gwen is in the room waiting for him and she hears his parents talking. So we're like, huh? Turns out this nigga did not go back to his world. He went back to the world where the spider was from. Now, when Miguel told him he was the anomaly, that spider came from another universe that was supposed to bite somebody else. So because it bit him, it basically changed the events where Peter died protecting him, so then he becomes Spider-Man. So the DNA of that spider took him to Earth 42, when Miles is from Earth 43. He sees his uncle. His uncle's alive, which he passed away in the first one. And then turns out we're thinking his uncle's the Prowler. Nah, his uncle is not the Prowler. His uncle is the assistant to the Prowler, who is him, Miles Morales. So that paves the question, was that Miles supposed to be Spider-Man? Or was there supposed to be another Spider-Man? Because in one universe, Miles becomes Spider-Man. In the other one, he becomes the Prowler. Now, Miguel said he was never supposed to be Spider-Man. So does that mean, was that Miles Morales became the Prowler? Was that like the universal dimensions balancing itself out? Because there's no other Miles Morales in the alternate universes of other Spider-Men. So maybe that was a whole balance thing. Don't know yet. But that nigga is mean. You know what I mean? He asks him if your dad's still alive. He's like, yeah. Because there's a mural where in Miles, the good Miles dimension, there's his uncle mural, because his uncle passed. In this one, it's the dad. So because the dad died, he leaned towards the uncle, influences, you know how that works. Homeboy has the braids. Nigga said his name with the accent, rolled the R a little bit, and he don't give a fuck. He told Miles, you gotta let me go. Miles told Miles, right, that you gotta let me go or our dad's gonna die. He said, no, your dad's gonna die. That was a cold ass line. And it was just crazy because, like, you could see the differences and, like, influences and stuff. Fucking, when Miles was fighting off Miguel before he got there, there was this line where he was like, everyone's been telling me about my life, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing. That was like, it was so hype because it's like he's coming into his own hero version, and it's like you eventually see the dividance between the Spider-Man, Gwen, Gwen's teacher, all that, and they're just like, so it paves the way. Is Miles' actions, because he's in an army, connected or not connected in the sense of the Spider-Verse? We don't know. But I can't wait for the next one. It was an amazing movie. Definitely gonna check it out again. At the end it was cool because it was cool, but it wasn't cool because they gave us blue balls. Because now we gotta wait for another fucking movie. I'm tucking tight, and I'm just like, you see Gwen. She assembles the first team from the first Spider-Man movie that teamed up to go save Miles. You see little baby Mary Jane point outside, and Spider-Dad's looking, and it's Gwen by the portal. Then you got Miguel and his people, and then we're gonna get a Miles versus Miles fight, Prowler versus Spider-Man. So I cannot wait. I have no issues with this movie, like in the sense that, like, for me, it was like a perfect movie. You know, it covered every basis of a good movie. You can see the tension between Gwen and Miles. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know whether they become a thing or not. It's hints like they had a conversation about it, but we'll see what happens. Can't wait for the next one. And you know, if you agree about anything I said about this movie being like a 10 out of 10, like comment. If you disagree, I mean, I haven't seen anyone say they dislike this movie. This movie was so fucking good. Like when I say it was so fucking good, it was so good. Like the soundtrack is amazing, the artwork was amazing, the action was amazing, the storytelling was amazing, the emotional parts were amazing. Like it was just amazing. But I don't know. Again, I am already looking into my suits or getting into a suit for Comic Con. I was gonna do something else, but this movie made me 100% change my mind. I told some of the gang if we do that, we should do like a Spider-Man meetup, which there's already gonna be like 1,000 Spider-Mans over there. But we're gonna see. But that is my movie review, which is me just spoiling the movie because the movie was fucking tough. So if you're here and you watched it, you understand what I mean. Other than that, 10 out of 10. My only worries is if part 3 is going to be as good as part 2. Because it is hard when you have sequels and franchises where it's hit or miss. Movies usually get better and better and better. And then you have the ones that is like good, amazing, mid. We'll see. I have faith in Sony until this movie comes out. So until then, that's my review. Leave a thumbs up, comments, please subscribe. You know, if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you was hyped about this movie, if there's any representation in this movie you enjoyed, you know, let's talk about it. If there was anything I missed, please let me know. But until next time, that is my review. Lord Wolf of Chaos, and I am out of here, guys.